away from Sardar Patel. Shah also accused the Congress of using the SIR as simply an excuse and unfairly targeting the Election Commission because the Congress party has stopped winning elections. Rahul Gandhi intervened in the debate and he kept asking why the Election Commission is not providing clean electoral rolls which are machine readable, why the Chief Justice of India was removed from the three-member panel that chooses election commissioners and the Chief Election Commissioner. Look, one thing is very clear at the end of these 2 days of debate on the SIR, both in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha, can we now put this SIR bogey behind us and at least get down to the brass tacks, which is that the BJP wins elections because it's simply good at winning elections. They're simply better at winning elections. That is the bottom line. Will the opposition, the Congress, ultimately accept that? Let's listen in to what both Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Rahul Gandhi had to say in what was a fiery face-off today in the Lok Sabha.
सबसे पहली घटना हुई आजादी के बाद देश का प्रधानमंत्री तय करना था। अब 28 वोट श्री सरदार पटेल को मिले और 2 वोट जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी को मिले। और साहब प्रधानमंत्री जवाहरलाल जी बने। मान्यवर दूसरे प्रकार की वोट चोरी और नैतिक तरीके से चुनाव जीते। ऐसी वोट चोरी भी भूतकाल में एक बार हुई थी। श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी रायबरेली से चुनी गई। इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ये तय कर दिया कि श्रीमती गांधी ने उचित तरीके से चुनाव नहीं जीता है, हम इसको रद्द कर दें। एक वाद पहुंचा है, वाद मतलब डिस्प्यूट पहुंचा है दिल्ली की सिविल अदालत में। उसमें डिस्प्यूट ये है कि सोनिया गांधी जी इस देश की नागरिक बनने से पहले मतदाता बने।
So here's a attack and counter-attack. Yesterday, the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, spoke and he posed 3 demands before the government. Today, the Union Home Minister, Amit Shah, has given a point-by-point rebuttal. Number 1, Mr. Rahul Gandhi asked why the Election Commission is not providing machine-readable voter rolls to all political parties. Amit Shah today countered that by saying that the Election Commission is a constitutional body. It does not fall under the ambit or the purview of the central government. Therefore, the Election Commission needs to respond to that. Second, Mr. Rahul Gandhi alleged that a law had been brought in 2023 which allowed the destroying of CCTV footage after 45 days after the polls have concluded. Mr. Shah countered that today by saying that the CCTV footage is preserved for 45 days. If that timeline is not enough to prove quote-unquote vote chori, then maybe the opposition should stop raising the objection of vote chori. Thirdly, Rahul Gandhi also sought expert access to the architecture of the EVM, to which Mr. Shah asked if the opposition is actually making a case for illegals, illegal immigrants, and want infiltrators to cast votes and enjoy the same rights and privileges that citizens of India do. It is also a fact that the Election Commission 3 times in the last 10 years has invited all political parties, including the opposition party, to read the election voting machines, the EVMs. But on all 3 occasions, none of the opposition parties showed up. Now, not just this. Mr. Shah also quoted 3 instances from history where he said the original vote chori happened. He said Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India, was found guilty of electoral corruption in her successful 1971 campaign for the Allahabad seat. The Allahabad High Court in 1975 had ruled her election as null and void. In fact, the High Court had banned her from politics for 6 years, in response to which she declared a state of emergency throughout India in 1975, imprisoned thousands of political opponents, and restricted personal freedoms. He again also cited another instance in 1989, during the Lok Sabha polls, when Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister and Rajmohan Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi's grandson, Congress workers at that time were accused of large-scale rigging. The Election Commission invalidated 18% of the votes. Almost 1/5 of all the votes cast were invalidated and ordered a repolling in 97 booths. The country's first booth loot incident took place in Raichaiji village in Bihar's Begusarai district during the 1957 Bihar Assembly elections. A reference that was also made by the Home Minister in his speech today in his response to the debate on the SIR. On polling day, armed men attacked voters from nearby villages, chased people away, and stuffed ballot boxes. Locals at that time had alleged the Congress candidate Saryug Singh, with the help of mafia leader Kamdev Singh, had orchestrated the capture. Mr. Shah also pointed to what he called the first instance of vote chori, where to decide the first Prime Minister of India, more provinces had voted in favor of Sardar Patel, but it was Jawaharlal Nehru who stole that election from Patel and ended up becoming the first Prime Minister of India. So this is the debate on SIR. It concludes in the Lok Sabha, but will it now continue across newspaper headlines and television studio debates? Let me go across for a quick face-off on this. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us, and Shama Mohammed, spokesperson of the Congress party, is also joining us. Sanju Verma, you know, the three questions that the leader of the opposition asked are still unanswered. Why are machine-readable electoral rolls not being provided to political parties? Why is the Election Commission not preserving CCTV footage, not just for 45 days, but for eternity? And also, why is the CJI not part of a neutral three-member panel to choose election commissioners and chief election commissioner?
So, Zaka, my quick response to every question of yours is this. First and foremost, let's get this very clear. In 2019, in the famous case of Kamal Nath versus the Election Commission of India, the Supreme Court, no less, said that machine-readable voter list is not needed nor necessary because it can be edited, it can be compromised, and it can actually even compromise the privacy of concerned voters. And the Supreme Court said, as long as the voter list is in text mode, it is kosher and good. So that's the answer to your first question. Supreme Court has said, machine-readable voter list ki zarurat nahi hai. Baat khatam. Second point, why CCTV footage is not retained beyond 45 days? So Section 2021 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1950 and the Registration of Electoral Rules 1960, Section 24, state that CCTV footage or any legal framework, which is audio-visual in nature, needs to be stored for 45 days. But if a candidate feels that the election process has not been duly followed, he or she can petition the court, and then the court will extend the existence of the so-called CCTV footage beyond 45 days. So if Rahul Gandhi feels in X constituency, in Y polling booth, in Z polling station, कहीं कोई हेरा फेरी हुई है, तो आप कोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटाइए, and if the issue gets into litigation, the CCTV footage will be preserved for beyond 45 days. But holding stupid press conferences and इधर-उधर की बातें करना, बगले झांकना, that does not qualify as something which is democratically a privilege. My final point, you asked three questions, the last point. Why is it that the CJI is not a part of the committee that chooses the CEC? Let me say this. Thank God for Narendra Modi. Since 2023, there are three members in a committee who will decide who will become the chief election commissioner. One is the Prime Minister himself, one a union cabinet minister, and the other important person is the leader of the opposition. But during Congress Raj, only the Prime Minister used to select and elect the chief election commissioner. Tab sab changa si. Only Prime Ministers used to choose the CEC, whether it was Indira Gandhi or Manmohan Singh or even Pandit Nehru. The leader of opposition was never given a say or any stake. He never had a skin in the game. But today the leader of opposition has a stake and a say because he is also a part of the three-member committee which chooses the CEC. So किस बात का रोना धोना है?
Okay, Shama Mohammed, the Home Minister, in response to the debate today on SIR, cited three instances of vote chori, as he called it. Number one, Jawaharlal Nehru becoming Prime Minister despite getting less votes than Sardar Patel. Number two, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, imposing emergency despite the Allahabad High Court declaring her election null and void, the rigged election of Rai Bareli in 1971. And number three, he alleged that Sonia Gandhi had already become a voter of this country even before she had become a citizen of this country.
Okay, now I want to start. So I've been listening to all this. First and foremost, I have no respect for the Home Minister of this country when he lies day in and day out. Where is this 28 votes for Patel and 2 votes for Nehru come up from? I don't know from where. And I have never heard of it. It's not in a history book. If he's a liar, he comes into parliament lies. I have no respect for such a person. One, Sardar Patel had no issues of Nehru becoming the prime minister, but Amit Shah has issues of Congress leader. He has nothing to do with RSS, who banned the RSS, who hated the RSS, is coming now and taking the congressman from here. Please tell the Home Minister to stop lying, number one. Number two, they came out in 2014 and says they're a party with a difference. Every time we do anything, they keep going back to 1957, to the emergency. I mean, what sort of nonsense is this? If you want to be the Congress party, come out and say, we want to be the Congress party. Okay, I know you love the Congress party and you want to emulate the Congress party. Number three, data. She said machine readable case about Kamal Nath. Now, if this was the case today, Amit Shah would be saying this in Parliament. It's a very important point which he did not say. That means it's another lie. There is no such lie. There is nothing like that. Machine readable voter list can be given. His reasoning for that is that, you go and ask the Election Commission. That is what Amit Shah said inside Parliament. He did not give the reason this lady has given because another lie from her. Number three is what he said about 45 days of video. Now, we have data. Initially, their spokesperson would say that data cannot be stored. Data all over the world is stored. And you know what happens when we have such data? When there is a confusion and we all want, we all don't want illegal immigrants, any non-voter to vote. We also don't want that. So we can check it out and say. Now, the last point which she said that there was no CGI and there was this has been going on for years, that the president appoints the election commission with the prime minister and his council of ministers. If you had a problem, you should have raised it there and come out with it. Now, when there was a chief justice and the leader of opposition, there is a 2:2, so there can be a tie break there. And I would go in for taking a fifth person, which could be the chief justice, so that there's 3:2. Now here, when you have the cabinet minister and the prime minister to the leader of opposition, it's just the same thing, that exactly you're following the method which was followed before. The power is with the government. Now, last point. He said one important point, one last point. He talked about Guspetiya. He said he kept repeating Guspetiya. I want to ask her in Bihar, how many Guspetiyas did you get, Sanju Verma? So stop lying. We are not going to believe this nonsense you keep saying day in and day out.
Sanju Verma, respond.
Yes. Now I did not interject her. Look at the shameless audacity of this shameless spokesperson saying,
listen,
I don't trust the Home Minister.
She's abusing. She's abusing.
Okay.
She's
Let's avoid getting personal, please. Let's argue on merit, please. Let's argue on merit. Let's argue on merit. Yes, I'm giving you time. I'm giving you time. Yes, I'm giving you time. But let's keep it civil. Let's not make it personal. Okay, Shama Mohammed, please yield now. Please yield. Let her make her point. You've made a bunch of allegations. Let her respond.
Zaka, I did not make any personal remark at any Congress leader. She starts by saying, Union Home Minister Amit Shah is a liar. I don't believe Amit Shah. I don't respect Amit Shah. So you are saying that is not getting personal with the Home Minister? Who the hell is Shama Mohammed? She even abused Rohit Sharma. Shama Mohammed is not respected by the own Kerala Congress.
I'm leaving the debate. Zaka Jacob, I'm not listening to this. Bye.
I want to finish my point.
One second. Let's argue on merit, please. Please argue on merit. She's left.
So let me finish. She has abused Amit Shah. You expect me to sit and listen?
No, but the point, ma'am. Now, what is the point of this debate? Am I going to sit here and debate you? Anyway, go on. Make your point.
Yes.
See, you have got personal. You have chased the Congress spokesperson away. She's chosen to walk away. Now, what is the point of having this debate? Anyway, you make your point. No, you're making the point after the Congress spokesperson is left. Go on, make the point. Yeah, make the point.
Thank you. Zaka, she said that Kamal Nath versus Election Commission of India is a figment of my imagination. api.sci.gov.in. The entire details of Kamal Nath versus Election Commission of India judgment is there on the Supreme Court's archived website. Sanju Verma does not lie on national television as far as facts are concerned, especially when it is Zaka's show. And now let me say one thing, that They keep saying ki vote chori, vote chori, vote chori. I will not repeat what Amit Shah said about vote chori happening when Nehru became the Prime Minister, not Sardar Patel. I will not talk about the 1975 emergency. It is well documented. And I will not talk about Sonia Gandhi getting citizenship in 1983, but her name finding a mention in voter rolls in 1980. My point is simple. Who appointed RVS Peri Shastri as the Chief Election Commissioner? Rajiv Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister, nobody else. Who appointed B.B. Tandon, N. Gopalaswamy, T.S. Krishnamurthy, S.Y. Qureshi as Chief Election Commissioners? Manmohan Singh and nobody else. Who elected or selected, should I say, Naveen Chawla as the Chief Election Commissioner in 2009? It was a lady called Sonia Gandhi who did not even hold a constitutional position. And let me say one thing. Each time they say that Gyanesh Kumar is BJP's agent, that is what I hear on umpteen debates. I want to ask them. T.N. Session was the cabinet secretary under Rajiv Gandhi, went on to become CEC and was given the Raman Magsaysay Award. Was he a Congress stooge then? By the Congress's own logic, M.S. Gill was the Chief Election Commissioner, Dhaka, from 1996 to 2001. He was the first CEC to be ever given a Rajya Sabha seat and went on to become the Union Sports Minister in 2006, but it did not end there.
Okay.
He was even given the Padma Vibhushan. So should I say that M.S. Gill was a handmaiden of the Congress party? So please don't level frivolous allegations, because Rahul Gandhi, as you said in your introduction, June, July, August, on 3 occasions, the Election Commission said, you come and have a dialogue with us. Whatever your allegations or concerns, we will have them responded to. But Rahul Gandhi believes in shoot and scoot. If you have an allegation, go to the court. You don't hold a press conference by indulging in personal attacks and then say, democracy khatre mein hai. Democracy khatre mein nahi hai. Rahul Gandhi needs to wake up and smell the coffee.
Okay.
He's a devastated loser.
We'll leave it at that. I don't think the Congress spokesperson is coming back, so there's no point continuing this debate. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Sanju Verma and Shama Mohammed, for joining us. Let's move on to the next topic that we have lined up on Brass Tacks, and that has to do with the Luthra Brothers, the owners of the Romeo Lane, Birch by Romeo Lane nightclub in Goa, where 25 people died in that fire. It's been 3 days since that deadly fire ripped through this nightclub. And since then, the owners of this high-end club, Gaurav and Saurav Luthra, have fled away to Phuket in Thailand. The last 3 days, the police have launched a massive manhunt for the accused. 5 others have been nabbed so far, including one of their partners, Ajay Gupta. The top management continues to be cooped up in Thailand, these two, the brothers. A blue collar notice has been issued to drag them back to India. With the blood of 25 people, 20 of them their own employees, they today moved a court in Delhi for anticipatory bail for 4 weeks, citing medical grounds. But as of now, there's been no stay on their arrest. They've not got any kind of interim relief. The matter will continue to be heard by the court. But it is absolutely appalling and amazing that after 25 people have died, these two owners, against whom there is a charge of culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and who have fled away from the law, fled away from the justice system here in India, have today pleaded with the court on medical grounds that they should not be arrested when they come back to India. In the wake of this tragedy, today the Goa Chief Minister held a press conference. He has said that there will be strict action against all the accused. He's also warned that all the clubs that are found violating norms will be subjected to action. In fact, one of their clubs, Gaurav and Saurav Luthra's clubs in Vagator, was demolished in bulldozer action yesterday because, again, post facto, the local authorities there found that there were serious building violations there. This is the footage from last evening. It's been completely demolished now by bulldozer action. But again, all of this is happening post facto. Let's listen into what Pramod Sawant, the Goa Chief Minister, said.
Definitely within the short span of a time, they'll come under the behind the bar. जिस जगह पे फायर सेफ्टी फेलियर्स इन द टूरिज्म एस्टेब्लिशमेंट है, हमें ब्लंटली वायलेशन कहाँ पे भी दिखा, समझो हमारी जो जॉइंट एनफोर्समेंट कमेटी ने इंस्पेक्शन करने के बाद ब्लंट वायलेशन दिखा, तो कुछ दिन के लिए उनकी एक्टिविटी जब तक नॉर्म्स फॉलो न करें तब तक वो बंद रहेंगी.
So the question that still remains is, why did it have to take a tragedy and for 25 innocent lives to be lost for the government to finally crack the whip? Now there's a paper trail. There's a whole bunch of complaints against Birch by Romeo Lane starting from December of 2023. So for almost 2 years, there is documentary sort of trail that Birch by Romeo Lane had multiple infractions, multiple flagrant violations, which were flagged by villagers in Arpora. It was flagged by environmental activists for flouting the norms, but all of those efforts went in vain. First up is a demolition notice. This is dated 20th December 2023, which mentions, and you can see this, there is unauthorized construction of shops, restaurants and structures at the site. It describes a grim reality. It goes on to say that these are illegal constructions. Foul water is being dumped into the river. Remember, this location was bang in the middle of where the river meets the sea. And then it also goes on to say that there's an underwater dance floor, which again is a complete violation that was on the verge of collapse. Now, the complainants warned that human lives were at serious risk if nothing was done. The notice warned of site inspection, and it was followed up with a show cause notice, but again, there was no action. In early 2024, the local village panchayat scheduled an inspection on the 17th of January 2024. They confirmed that there were illegal parts of this construction. You can see the VP, Sarpanch and VP members of the concerned village panchayat Arpora Nagoa in Bardes, Goa. After the notice, the site inspection flagged off these things and the management was asked to be present at the site with all the relevant documents to prove otherwise. But again, that did not happen either. Then a month later, there was another show cause notice that was issued. This was on the 15th of February. And then again on the 13th of March, the panchayat drafted a demolition proposal saying that this is illegal construction. The club owners have been given 15 days to comply. They did not comply and they were going ahead and demolishing this. Warnings were also sent by block development officials to the club owners. But nothing changed. Nothing at all changed. The owners did not produce the required documents. They did not comply with the building code and the building guidelines. Instead, they appealed to the higher authorities, as a result of which the demolition order was stayed by the regional panchayat's authority. And the action against Birch by Romeo Lane was stayed. Had this action been taken, then clearly those 25 lives would have been saved and could have been saved. Now, turning a complete blind eye to all the previous warnings, today the Luthra Brothers, through their counsel, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, Mr. Siddharth Luthra, argued in court that they are seeking liberty to return to India and they want to approach the Goa court but are scared of a witch hunt. They claim that one of the Luthra brothers has epilepsy and he holds a medical prescription since 2020. They say that they are not the owners, but they are actually people who run the place on a lease and that they have leased it out to some franchisees to run. They've also claimed that they will not tamper with the evidence and say that they too are victims. And the irony of that, 20 out of the 25 people who died are their own employees and they didn't care for them and they ran away to Thailand, but now they're claiming that they too are victims. For now, though, the court has not granted them any kind of interim relief. The court has said that if they come back, they will have to face the law. The hearing on their anticipatory bail will resume again tomorrow. Now, the fundamental question is, as the Luthra brothers remain on the run, our correspondent Yasha Kotak spoke with one of the whistleblowers. His name is Ravi Harmalkar, who way before this tragedy struck, raised some of the gross irregularities about this nightclub. And in response, he was threatened by the owners, the Luthra brothers.
Luthra brothers are habitual offenders. They are having high-profile connection with like IPS, IAS officer, local government, and whenever we file a complaint for any illegalities, till date authority have never supported us or never acted. No authority was taking action because, as I told you, he is a very, very high-profile.
I want to go across for a quick face-off on this. Dr. Vikram Singh, former IPS officer, former DGP, Satya Mule, lawyer at the Supreme Court, is also joining us. Vikram Singh, look at the multiple violations that have been flagged off in 2023, in 2024 by the village panchayat. Finally, the regional panchayat authority gave a stop. Multiple flagrant building code violations were noticed there. Illegal construction was noticed there. And no one thought that action should be taken, or at least clearly these owners were powerful enough to get powerful authorities to stop the action against them. And now, post facto, after 25 people are dead, the bulldozers are going and the illegal constructions are being demolished and the pub is being sealed.
Good evening, Zaka. This is an administrative avoidable tragedy, a tragedy that could have been avoided and prevented. But obviously, the Luthra brothers have deep pockets and they could manipulate the system, and they did it very, very successfully in a very devious manner. The Panchayat, the BDO, both the offices issued notices, but those notices went into the dustbin and nothing happened before that. But after the incident, you have the bulldozers, you have everything, and then it really doesn't matter because 25 precious lives have been lost, and this is almost the same number as we lost in Pahalgam and launched Operation Sindoor. If something, even the very basic operation was launched, I think this tragedy could have been averted. But now adding insult to injury is that the whistleblower is also being threatened. But the only silver lining that I see that the response of the police has been swift and professional. But I had expected a lot more from the local authorities. December 2023, you have very eloquently mentioned that everything started almost in December 2023, but nobody woke up. And if nobody woke up, that indeed is the cause of concern, and they are willing accessories to the crime.
No, but tell me, sir, if the village panchayat has taken the decision, despite giving multiple notices and no satisfactory explanation from the owners, they've taken the decision to demolish the illegal structures. Shouldn't the question be asked, who then overrode the village panchayat? Who had the authority, the power to override the decision of the village panchayat, and that these illegal structures continued for a good year and a half? In fact, almost 2 years.
Please listen to me very carefully. I can tell you from my experience, whoever overrode or was complicit in staying the order of the panchayat, in staying the demolition, is accessory number 1 and should be hauled up under 62 of former IPC's section 120B of criminal conspiracy. He is absolutely eyeball deep involved in this conspiracy and responsible, and he has blood on his hands, whoever the officer may be. And therefore, I would say this FIR needs to broaden its scope of investigation and rope in all those who were instrumental in marking time, giving them long rope, and therefore there needs to be a larger investigation.
So I also want to go across to Satya Mule. Today, you know, the Luthra brothers moved a court in Delhi, and this is their plea. This is their anticipatory bail plea. They're seeking liberty to come back to the country and approach the Goa court. They want an assurance that there will not be a witch hunt. The brothers also say one of us has epilepsy. We have a medical prescription from 2020 to prove it. The epilepsy did not stop them from running away to Thailand. And now they want protection of the same law that they ran away from, that no coercive action will be taken on them. How does that work?
Complete nonsense. This kind of mockery doesn't work in India. We have had cases where Supreme Court in the past, in serious offences, have directed the accused to surrender first and then take the protection of law. They have all the ways to take the protection of law after surrendering and demonstrating that they want to cooperate with the law. Having said that, I want to mention that there is a modus operandi that has evolved across the country. To save cost, the modus operandi of these kind of people is to erect structures which are of temporary nature by using material which are highly inflammatory, which leads to infringements of fire laws, infringement of environmental laws, infringement of noise laws, infringement of construction laws, infringement of various NOCs. And this
no, but Mr. Mule, who gave them the NOC for this? The fire officer, the village officer? I mean, who are the people who gave them the NOCs for this?
There is a nexus for it. It's politicians, police and administration. There is a strong nexus to it. And this nexus is seen across the country, whether it was Kamla Mills fire, whether it was Hotel Arpita Palace in Karol Bagh, whether there was coaching class fires in Surat or Delhi. This particular nexus of having this kind of hazardous structures in place for running the business only for the sake of profit and throwing the safety of the patrons to the wind has been seen across
you know, one of the things that I find amazing, that they have taken the refuge that under medical grounds they need protection of the law to come back and move a Goa court. Now, look at the timeline, 12:04. A little past midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning is when this incident happens, when this accident happens. By 1:30 a.m. or closer to 2 a.m., these two brothers have already reached the airport. By 5 o'clock in the morning, they're already on an IndiGo flight flying to Phuket in Thailand. 20 out of the 25 people who died, that they're employees, they're cooks, they're restaurant waiters. Clearly, they had no intention of facing the law. They wanted to run away from the law, and now they are seeking protection of the same law.
They are definitely demonstrating the guilt. This, in fact, they are pleading that they are the franchisees and they gave the franchisee to somebody else. A franchisee owner as well as the franchisee giver. They both have the contractual responsibility to follow the law. At the same time, these people have fiduciary relationship. Along with that, if this particular incident has happened, then they also have the responsibility of contributory negligence, which has led to culpable homicide not amounting to murder. And in fact, they have to face the law. And in this kind of a situation, all these particular paper trails, their contribution towards this particular kind of a situation has to be investigated.
Right from
and
the beginning,
no bail should be granted.
Vikram Singh Saab, there was illegal construction. The village panchayat had ordered that illegal construction needs to be removed, it needs to be demolished. Somebody powerful overrode the village panchayat. In fact, even a site inspection was carried out. The management was asked for an explanation. 15 days time was given. No explanation from them. Even right at the beginning, this was agricultural land that was converted for non-agricultural purposes. The management of this nightclub was asked to appear in court. They didn't even show up in court. And the case got a stay. Now, my point is, who has allowed all of this to happen? Surely two private individuals running a private business cannot be so powerful that they can override a village panchayat, they can get a stay in court, they can continue with illegal constructions on their premises, they can convert agricultural land and use it for non-agricultural purposes. I mean, come on. It's unbelievable. There's a whole nexus that has supported them. I don't think it's just two private individuals who have done this. Vikram Singh.
Mr. Zaka, please understand that they have people with very deep pockets and they are very street smart. They could manage to manipulate not only the panchayat, but the government machinery as also the inspecting authorities. In any case, the inspecting authorities and the inspections in NOCs are a gateway to scandal and also corruption. Therefore, I totally agree with the profound words of Mr. Sule, which he has said that everybody is complicit and there is facilitation money that is going around and around. And therefore, I would say that when he has the means, there are different rule book for him. And the different rule book says that if you have the means and the purchasing power, he purchased the system to his own advantage and managed to escape. And the very fact that he managed to go to Phuket, he had a plan B already ready, the passport and the visas ready. And then he managed to escape and fully. IndiGo stalled many of the flights. But for them, perhaps their luck didn't run out and the flight managed to take off. But the fact of the matter is, to your original question, is that these people were managed to hijack the system totally, the panchayat, the government machinery, the inspecting machinery, the fire service department, the whole lot of them, and managed to put a stay order on the Gram Panchayat, which wanted to demolish their resort, but it did not happen because they managed to get themselves bailed out.
All right, Vikram Singh and Mr. Mole, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, these two owners of this club against whom there are charges of culpable homicide not amounting to murder will be brought back to India, dragged back to India and made to face the law. That is what they need to be made to do. I want to thank you for joining us here on Brass Tacks. I want to quickly move on to the other story, which we've been following relentlessly for the last week now. The recent IndiGo chaos. It was not just an operational failure. There seems to be a lot more to it than meets the eye. While the operations seem to be stabilizing now, what about the public admission of responsibility, about heads rolling? Now, from 1,600 flights that were cancelled last Friday, which was the worst, the number of cancellations has come down quite substantially. In fact, yesterday it was about 400 cancellations, and today it's down to about 220 cancellations. IndiGo has assured a 72-hour notice in case of any further cancellations of flights, but it seems like it is now stabilized to the point where they are resuming back to the kind of normal operations that they had prior to December 1. But is this really good enough? Number one, should there be financial penalties? Yet to be decided, by the way. The DGCA is looking into this matter. The DGCA is yet to arrive on how much penalties should be paid by IndiGo for non-compliance. The decision is yet to be made on that. For now, the only decision that's been taken, and has been taken by the ministry, is that 10% of all additional flight operations, remember they got an extra winter schedule, about 6% or so, that plus another 4%. So 10% of flight operations have been curtailed, which means about 200 flights that they operate on a daily basis have been cut down. So they have now gone back pretty much to the pre-winter schedule levels. But action on the top management of the airline. So far, absolutely zilch action has been taken either against the CEO or the other board members. So far, no decision has been taken either by the DGCA or by the ministry or even, frankly, by the board and the shareholders of the company no action. The CEO continues to have his job. The COO continues to have his job. Clearly, heads need to roll. That hasn't happened until now. Investigation also into manpower audit is underway. The DGCA has said every fortnight the IndiGo management needs to apprise them of the recruitment situation. Also, they have now seated DGCA officials in some of the busiest airports and offices of IndiGo across these airports. They will now be there real time along with IndiGo staff, even as these operations are being watched and monitored. The IndiGo top brass, meanwhile, has sought more time to respond to the show cause notice issued by the aviation watchdog. A key transport committee meeting of the Parliamentary Standing Committee has been called for tomorrow. We're given to understand that IndiGo officials have been summoned as well. Meanwhile, the Delhi High Court has pulled up the centre as well as the airline over this crisis, asking, how did you allow such a situation to precipitate? What are the protections that you provided to the stranded passengers? What are the refunds and the compensation status? That needs to be clarified, both in terms of time loss, money loss, etc., and of course, baggage loss. Passenger rights should not have to be sacrificed, is what the Delhi High Court has said today. So clearly, the court has come down quite heavily on both the IndiGo management as well as the government and the DGCA as to why they've not done enough to protect the rights of passengers. Donald Trump has introduced new social media rules for all H1B and H4 visa holders. Now, their social media profiles need to be kept public, and it has to be backdated public by 5 years. Their social media profiles will be scanned, and if they've said anything that is perceived as critical to America or to Trump, then that could affect their chances of getting a visa. But as a fallout of this, most people who had their visa interviews in the last 2 weeks of December have now got messages or mails saying that it's been postponed to March. Here's a deep dive.
Preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
In his second term, US President Donald Trump has rolled out the most sweeping set of changes to the H1B and H4 visas in over a decade. These new rules have tightened eligibility, it's raised employer requirements, slowed down processing times, and revived restrictions for work permits for spouses. For Indians, who make up nearly 75% of all H1B visa holders, this shift is not just a change of policy, it is personal. We break down what exactly Trump has changed, why Indians are feeling the immediate impact of it, and how these rules are altering life for Indian techies. The Trump administration last week made it mandatory that there will be social media screening of all new H1B and H4 visa applicants. H1B is the visa that most Indian techies use to live and work in the United States, and H4 is the dependent visa on which a lot of their spouses live on. Immigration attorneys in the US are now reporting that interview slots at US consulates scheduled from mid to end December are all either being postponed to March or later, or they're simply being cancelled outright. Now, this has affected people who have had to change their holiday plans, also those who were planning to visit India for the end of the year family weddings, or simply to drop off their elderly parents, many of whom leave the US and move back to India during the winter months. Last week, the State Department had issued a circular saying that all new applicants, whether H1B or H4 visas, will have to undergo mandatory social media screening, and they have to make their social media profiles public. And this is not a one-time exercise. They will have to backdate their social media profiles and make them public for the last 5 years. As a fallout, consulates are now processing much fewer applications per day because the social media vetting for each applicant is taking much more time. Overall, there is a major crackdown on immigration into America, particularly, as Trump puts it, from so-called third world countries, something which plays well to his MAGA base.
I've also announced a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the Senate as they came in? the Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting. And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime. The only thing they're good at is going after ships.
The H1B visa is the backbone of America's highly skilled immigration system. Every year, American companies sponsor about 85,000 foreign professionals, mostly engineers, doctors, researchers, healthcare workers. Indians have dominated this category for years. They account for nearly 2/3 of all H1B approvals. During Trump's first term in 2017, he brought about multiple restrictions on H1B. A much higher rate of rejections and also requests for evidence or RFEs, revoking work authorization for H4 dependent spouses, proposals to raise the minimum wage to make hiring foreign workers costlier, tougher scrutiny of IT consulting companies. Then when Joe Biden became president in 2020 and in subsequent years, many of these Trump-era moves were reversed or stalled. H4 work permits, for example, were restored. Processing times improved and approval rates had stabilized. But now with Trump's return to the White House earlier this year, it has once again reignited his anti-immigration agenda. And he's done this with more executive authority. Many of the proposals that were blocked in the courts during his first term have now resurfaced in the form of executive orders. The Trump administration has rolled out stricter wage rules, requiring employers to pay H1B workers significantly higher salaries. That makes hiring Indian engineers much more expensive. That pushes companies to reduce or even eliminate entirely entry-level hires. Trump has also made it mandatory for companies to pay up to $100,000 for every new H1B applicant. For Indian applicants, this has become a major bottleneck. The revised rules define what counts as specialized work far more in a narrow fashion. Earlier, a broad STEM degree, that is in science and technology or engineering and medicine, that could qualify you to be eligible for H1B. Now your role must be very tightly matched to a field-specific qualification. That has, of course, led to a spike in denials for Indians when they're applying for roles in data analytics, quality assurance, even general engineering. Processing timelines have also quietly expanded. Filing fees have increased sharply. Every visa applicant now has to pay an additional $250, hitting both companies as well as workers the same. So for families who are dependent on renewals, this creates an enormous amount of uncertainty around the legal status of their loved ones.
$100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. Trump has revived his long-standing proposal to roll back the H4 employment authorization document. Nearly 90% of all H4 EAD holders happen to be Indian women, many of them who have successful careers in tech or finance or even healthcare. The US green card queue anyway is already decades long for Indians. Trump has now also signaled there will be no new exemptions. There's going to be no country-specific cap. There's going to be no fast-tracking for highly skilled Indian workers. This means there's going to be long-term uncertainty for families who have US-born children. Over 1.7 million Indians live in the US on some form of skilled worker visa or dependent visa. Indian students form the largest group in American STEM programs, many of whom are hoping for H1B opportunities. Cash remittances from Indians who are working in the US contribute significantly to India's foreign exchange inflows. That has now slowed down significantly. Indian IT firms, as a consequence of Trump's actions, may have to shift more of their work offshore, and that could impact their overall revenues. Diplomatically too, New Delhi must balance its strategic partnership with America on the one side, while also protecting the interests of its diaspora. Donald Trump goes around claiming that he's ended 8 or 9 wars. He often talks about ending the India-Pakistan war, as fallacious as that claim is. One of the wars that he always says that he's ended is the war between Thailand and Cambodia. But now that war has restarted. There have been multiple attacks across the 800-kilometer-long disputed border between Thailand and Cambodia. So much so, even Trump has acknowledged that he's not happy with the situation. Here's what's happening on the ground. Thailand and Cambodia have again accused each other of firing in a fresh round of fighting along their border. This latest round of firing comes just weeks after both countries signed a peace agreement brokered by US President Donald Trump in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thailand bombed Cambodian targets this week after it said that a Thai soldier had been killed in cross-border firing. Cambodia said that 4 of its civilians had been killed in 2 border provinces, although the Thai authorities dispute those versions of events. The fighting is a sharp escalation of tensions between the 2 Southeast Asian countries. Back in July, 5 days of fighting across their shared border killed at least 40 people and displaced hundreds of thousands. They agreed to a ceasefire in late July, brokered in part by President Trump of America and Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia. But Thailand suspended those peace talks in November and walked out of the peace agreement. Thailand said that it used F-16 fighter jets to bomb Cambodian military targets, and Cambodia confirmed that Thai jets had attacked around 9 a.m. local time. Thailand said it was retaliating against an attack by Cambodia earlier in the day, which killed at least 1 Thai soldier and injured 8 others. It was not immediately clear, though, how much damage the Thai airstrikes had caused in Cambodia.
ประเทศไทยไม่เคยต้องการเห็นความรุนแรงโดยยืนยันว่าประเทศไทยไม่เคยเป็นฝ่ายริเริ่มหรือรุกรานแต่อย่างใดแต่ประเทศไทยจะไม่ยอมให้มีการล่วงละเมิดอธิปไตยและจะดำเนินการอย่างมีเหตุมีผลรอบคอบยึดหลักสันติภาพความมั่นคงและมนุษยธรรมเป็นสำคัญ
Cambodia said that 4 civilians had been killed and 9 others injured in the Thai firing. Hun Sen, who's the de facto leader of Cambodia, urged restraint. About 500,000 people have been displaced by this latest round of fighting. The Thai military said that 400,000 people had been taken to shelters, and Cambodian officials said that tens of thousands of people had been moved away from the border. Monday's attacks followed an exchange of fire the previous day, which neither side thought would escalate this quickly. On Sunday, officials ordered residents in 4 Thai provinces, all of which are along the border, Buriram, Surin, Sisaket, and Ubon, to evacuate to shelters. After the previous flare-up of violence back in July, the 2 countries agreed to a ceasefire that was brokered by Trump and signed in his presence when he visited Kuala Lumpur for the ASEAN summit back in October. At that time, officials in Thailand and Cambodia had also accused the other side of opening fire first. Both countries exchanged gunfire and shelled each other for 5 straight days. At least 40 people were killed and hundreds of thousands were displaced. After the ceasefire, the 2 countries continued to trade accusations. In November, undermining President Trump's efforts to cast himself as a global peacemaker, Thailand pulled out of the peace talks with Cambodia. This was after 2 Thai soldiers were injured by a landmine in a disputed border area. In a statement put out Monday, Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia said that our region cannot afford to see long-standing disputes slip into cycles of confrontation. The conflict between Thailand and Cambodia is driven by nationalist rivalries on either side. There is a long-running border dispute which adds to the mix. Fighting has broken out intermittently since 2008. Before the clashes in July, the last time there was a major incident that turned deadly was in 2011. Both countries have used such border flare-ups to play to each other's nationalist constituencies. Much of this conflict comes down to disagreements over the 800-kilometer-long boundary between both nations, large parts of which are undefined and unmarked. Those disagreements can be traced back to a 1907 map that was created during French colonial rule in Cambodia. And it's a map, or at least a version of it, which both Thailand and Cambodia interpret differently. Some of the most tense areas along the border are also home to centuries-old temples. Arguments about where the border should be and who owns these temples have led to decades of friction. Prasad Priya Vihar and Prasad Thamua Thom, both Khmer Rouge-era Hindu temples, about 100 miles apart, are two of the key sites where tensions flared up in July. On Monday, the Thai army said that one of its airstrikes had struck a radio tower very close to the Priya Vihar temple. Thailand's deployment of F-16s to bomb Cambodian military targets back in July was the first time that it had used fighter jets in combat over 3 decades. Thailand is a military ally of the United States and it gets regular state-of-the-art weapons from America. Cambodia, on the other hand, has been a long-time Chinese ally after decades of communist rule. This is also a proxy war between the two great powers, America and China, as they seek to redefine the rules of engagement in Asia. Thailand has a much better equipped military than Cambodia, which virtually has no operational air force. But Cambodia has been using guerrilla tactics to take down the much bigger Thai army. In any case, Thailand and Cambodia could be mere pawns in this great power game.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. There was a fiery face-off in the Lok Sabha between Home Minister Amit Shah and the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi. Shah was responding on the debate on the special intensive review undertaken by the Election Commission, the SIR. He said that the original vote chori was actually done by Jawaharlal Nehru when he stole the election to be India's first Prime Minister away from Sardar Patel. Shah also accused the Congress of using the SIR as simply an excuse and unfairly targeting the Election Commission because the Congress party has stopped winning elections. Rahul Gandhi intervened in the debate and he kept asking why the Election Commission is not providing clean electoral rolls which are machine-readable, why the Chief Justice of India was removed from the 3-member panel that chooses election commissioners and the Chief Election Commissioner. Look, one thing is very clear at the end of these 2 days of debate on the SIR, both in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha, can we now put this SIR bogey behind us and at least get down to the brass tacks, which is that the BJP wins elections because it's simply good at winning elections. They're simply better at winning elections. That is the bottom line. Will the opposition, the Congress, ultimately accept that? Let's listen in to what both Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Rahul Gandhi had to say in what was a fiery face-off today in the Lok Sabha.
सबसे पहली घटना हुई आजादी के बाद देश का प्रधानमंत्री तय करना था। अब 28 वोट श्री सरदार पटेल को मिले और 2 वोट जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी को मिले। और साहब प्रधानमंत्री जवाहरलाल जी बने। मान्यवर दूसरे प्रकार की वोट चोरी और नैतिक तरीके से चुनाव जीता। ऐसी वोट चोरी भी भूतकाल में एक बार हुई थी। श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी रायबरेली से चुनी गई। इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ये तय कर दिया कि श्रीमती गांधी ने उचित तरीके से चुनाव नहीं जीता है, हम इसको रद्द कर दें। एक वाद पहुंचा है, वाद मतलब डिस्प्यूट पहुंचा है दिल्ली की सिविल अदालत में। उसमें डिस्प्यूट ये है कि सोनिया गांधी जी इस देश की नागरिक बनने से पहले मतदाता बने।
So here's a attack and counter-attack. Yesterday, the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, spoke and he posed 3 demands before the government. Today, the Union Home Minister, Amit Shah, has given a point-by-point rebuttal. Number 1, Mr. Rahul Gandhi asked why the Election Commission is not providing machine-readable voter rolls to all political parties. Amit Shah today countered that by saying that the Election Commission is a constitutional body. It does not fall under the ambit or the purview of the central government. Therefore, the Election Commission needs to respond to that. Second, Mr. Rahul Gandhi alleged that a law had been brought in 2023 which allowed the destroying of CCTV footage after 45 days after the polls have concluded. Mr. Shah countered that today by saying that the CCTV footage is preserved for 45 days. If that timeline is not enough to prove quote-unquote vote chori, then maybe the opposition should stop raising the objection of vote chori. Thirdly, Rahul Gandhi also sought expert access to the architecture of the EVM to